Buck roll.
I love you, Bobby.
Welcome to the 757 Renaissance Man podcast. On this episode, we chop it up with Herman Hurston. We discuss how he went from Gary, Indiana, to the Air Force, to the Navy, serving in Desert Storm, the Royal Blue and the Four Horsemen, the evolution of Joe Pro, how Herman went from hosting comedy to 103 Jamz' #1 radio show, from 103 Jamz to the Virginia House of Comedy, radio versus the Virginia House of Comedy, and much more. Let's have a conversation with Herman Hurston. What's up, everybody? I'm here chatting with my man Herman. I don't want no trouble, Hurston. I think we can have a good conversation today. We might expand your mind a little bit. But first of all, Herman, how you doing today, man?
Wonderful. And yourself, how you feeling today?
I am really nice. Hopefully,
Hey.
yeah, I hear you. Hopefully, this weather is about to
Okay.
break.
Well, it's gonna be this called in between spring and winter. So I don't know what break people are expecting in February going into March, but this is the time where this is some of the worst times going into April. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that rain is supposed to be hitting us. And then in April, that's when I get jacked up because all the pollen and everything.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, we're preparing. This is what we do, man. Called weather changing. You know, the government plays with the weather too, so nothing changes.
So I want to give everybody maybe a brief history lesson of where you came from, because a lot of people don't realize nothing's an overnight thing. It's taken years for you to get to where you were at, and just shed a little light on your story, because I believe you were in the military at one time, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm originally from Gary, Indiana, and I've been, I grew up in Gary, Indiana as a kid. That's about 10 minutes outside the south side of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a murder capital at the time, high rate, high killings and stuff. So, to make it out of Gary was something, at the time, it was great for a lot of people to make it out of here. Gary had a great educational system.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, once you were educated, there was nowhere to use it. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing available in Gary to use. So I decided to join the Air Force. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Joined the Air Force in 1986, September. Then I got in the Air Force, had a little mishap with the Air Force because I didn't know how to behave as far as active world behavior outside of Gary, Indiana. The rest of the United States had a different way than Gary, Indiana. So I went to the Air Force. It didn't work out. Mm-hmm. I was out of the Air Force by February of 87. By May of 87, I was back in boot camp again. I went to the Navy this time.
Okay.
This time it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I stayed in the Navy and ended up becoming a surgical scrub, worked in the operating room, and I ended up here, at Portsmouth Naval Hospital. And it's been a journey, man. And ever since then, I've been right here.
I think that's how a lot of people end up here, vicariously through the Navy. I ended up here because my father was in the Navy, and this was one of the favorite duty stations. He actually served here twice.
Wow.
Yeah, he did Portsmouth Naval twice.
Yeah, man, it's a place, man. P&H has had a lot of people come through, man. It's different. It's a little different, man.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
How was your time in Maryview?
Maryview Medical Center was different because I was going to Maryview, I was like a 22, 23-year-old phenom going to Maryview,
Okay.
I'm coming out of the operating room. I'm coming to the operating room out of the military. I just come from a war because I was in Desert Storm. Mm-hmm. I was with 2nd FSSG, 2nd Medical Battalion out of Camp Lejeune with the Marine Corps. And by the time I reached Maryview Medical Center, I was just prepared. At 23 years old, I'd already been through working in the hospital at Portsmouth Naval Hospital, ear, nose, and throat, plastic surgery, thoracic and vascular. minor surgery. So these things I had a chance to do before I even went to school. Then once I got into Maryview Medical Center, it was like I already knew how to do scopes, upper GI and lower GI. I already knew the cleaning of the room. I already knew how to do everything because in the Navy, you didn't have to have a license for everything. All you had to do was be signed up to the military, and in the medical field, that was a true blessing. You got to learn everything.
Yeah.
Everything, you know. So by the time I came to Maryview, man, they said you had to be on I think it was 90 days probation before you could carry a pager and be called on call in Maryview. Well, I got called in the third day and carried the pager from the third day. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
I didn't need any formal training because I had already been trained formal.
Right. So let's even back up a little bit more. What was it like in Desert Storm, and how long did you spend over there?
Ooh, my diary says I landed in Saudi Arabia on the 18th of December that year, and I didn't get home till May, June. So we were there like 7 months.
Okay.
And I was with 2nd FSSG, 2nd Medical Battalion out of Camp Lejeune. We had a heck of a team there, you know, and I was able to take care of the first guys called in friendly fire. Yeah, I took care of the first guys that when we bombed our own tanks. First range of friendly fire, I took care of the guys that came out of that tank that day. 2 of them was dead when they got there. And the other one, we had to medevac out to Fleet 5 because he had to have pressure relieved off of his skull in order to put him in the helicopter. So it would bore a couple holes in his head in order to keep the brain from swelling. And then I worked on Rodriguez. We worked on him for like 17 and a half hours. Yeah, we had to remove his left arm and make it a stump. We had, from the elbow down. Then we had his scapular muscles. And I remember we put back most of his intestines after he had lost his derma and fascia layer. That's your first 2 layers of skin. Okay. So he had no skin to cover up his intestinal cavity. So that's the first time I was, ever seen us use a piece of Gore-Tex graft that large. Okay, we had to use a piece of Gore-Tex graft about the size of the square portion of your abdominal cavity. And then we took a derma mesh and derma mesher. That's to take the top layer of your skin off your leg or your buttocks. And we used the mesher to smash that skin out to be able to place it over top of the graft so that you can grow skin again over top of that Gore-Tex graft. You know what I'm saying? So, I've seen a lot of, intricate things, working in the medical field and working over there. It was a heck of a trip.
What is one of the things that you took from that the most? Because, that a lot of people don't realize that's an education on its own. Just by being in that environment, you earned a degree just by doing that.
Yeah. Well, when I got back from Desert Storm, that was the end of my church day. Church was over for me. Somebody said, you gonna go to church with me? I said, I spent 7 months in the desert. No church or no steeple. Spent 7 months in the desert around no church people. Spent 7 days in the desert and still made it through evil. So I asked you about the church, okay? What do I need with your church steeple? None whatsoever. Because education is an adaptation to one's environment. And to survive everywhere you go, you have to adapt to the environment to which you're in. You can read books, you can jump up and down, you can shout hallelujah. But experience is the best teacher in life. And without it, you have no education to stand.
That's right. Okay. So how did you make your transition from the medical field into comedy?
You know what? That wasn't even a transition, man. It's like this. I do comedy. I started doing comedy because it's like a backlash or a back effect from growing up in hard times. You know what I'm saying? It's like a backlash of dealing with childhood problems. It's a backlash of failures in life. It's a backlash of failed relationships. It's a backlash of all trauma in your life. That's what comedy is. It's a backlash. You know what I'm saying? So for me, so what happened was for me to be able to deal with life, you know what I'm saying? Laughter was my outlet. Laughter has been my vow.
Okay. So
what? You know what I'm saying? So I started doing comedy because I was arguing with my girlfriend one night, and my friend said, "Yo, man, let's ride to the club." And there's a guy by the name of Barry Waiters and a guy by the name of Reggie Pear. They can attest to this. I went in there and won a contest my first night. You know what I'm saying? And I've been doing comedy ever since. You know, they told me, man, go on up on stage, man. You funnier than them at the barbecues, man. You're funnier than them at the barbecues. Go on stage, man.
That was here in Virginia.
Yeah, it was called the Royal Blue nightclub off of Little Creek Road.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was called the Royal Blue, and it had these guys called the Four Horsemen. And there was Captain 85, you know what I'm saying? And the dude named Bobby J, who just passed away, was, around. Hey, Herman, how are you, man? I think you're a funny guy. I think you're funny, Herman. You need to get on stage, guy. You're almost as funny as me. I'm like, all right, bro, I got you.
I've never heard anybody do a Bobby J impersonation.
Yeah, man. Hi, I'm Bobby J, and we love to play. Next time you listen to us on WRAP, we want you to lock it in with me and Miss Dingaling. We're doing our thing as Bobby J. You're a bouncing baby boy. Yeah.
Yo, you know, if it wasn't for him, it was a lot of older music. I don't even want to say older music. It's a lot of R&B and Southern music I wouldn't have never been introduced to if it wasn't for Bobby J. Like stroking. I would have never ever heard. I would have never ever heard Clarence. What is it? Clarence Clemens doing stroking. I would never.
Clarence Carter.
Clarence Carter. Yeah, Clarence Carter. Yeah.
Well, don't stroke too fast, because if my stuff ain't tight enough, you can stick it up my ball if he's stroking. Yeah, man. I won't stroke long, hard, short, girl. I be stroking. Yeah, that's him. But songs like that and Candy Liquor. You know, I want to be your candy liquor. Doom, 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 doom. Just want to be, I want to be, your candy liquor. And see, people were nasty back then. They would say, I'll lick you up, lick you down, turn around, baby, and let me lick you all around. Oh, let me lick you good. Like your man should. And see, people didn't know these songs were nasty back then, man.
Right. And
this dude said, let me lick you till you come. That was back then.
And I've been trying to explain to my kids, it's like nowadays, they don't even try to shine it up or nothing. It's just... No, they just raw. Yeah. we danced around with it, you know? Right.
We danced around with it. But there was a certain discreetness to the way we did things in our era. Certain discreetness. Yeah. Children don't need to know everything.
Exactly. So getting back to the Royal Blue, those are some of my favorite DJs. They Captain 85. I need to get in touch with him too. He was funny too.
Yeah, you had Captain 85. You had Heart Attack. You know, back then you had Hot Dog was older than Heart Attack. You know, the master storyteller.
Yeah.
You know. You had guys, man, that were doing things that set foundation. And, people like Wilton Jones was a good comic back then. William Stallone. He had done the Apollo like 4 times and won. He was ventriloquist. And that's an art that's long, which is ventriloquist. A guy by the name of DJ Joe Pro was doing DJing back in the day.
So you see my smile on my face as soon as you said Joe Pro. You see my
face. Yeah, DJ Joe Pro, man. Let me tell you something. I don't know, I guess everybody knows him now, but I know him as Joseph Pritchard. Okay. Joseph Pritchard, that's Joe Pro. Very good dude. And the reason why I brought him up with the subject of ventriloquism, because I know you're like, how did Joe Pro come up in that?
Right.
Well, Joe Pro was the first ventriloquist I'd ever met.
Really?
Yeah, Joe Pro was the first ventriloquist I ever met straight up. Just, yo, what's up, Joe? And he was a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy by the name of DJ Shock, who is now a mayor in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was a Marine, but DJ Shock, I don't know the city, but he's a mayor in Ohio. But DJ Shock was the first one to introduce me to Joe Pro. And Joe Pro, as a matter of fact, DJ Shock was so instrumental in my career. Let me break down DJ Shock, because I got to always give his brother props.
Okay.
DJ Shock knew something about me that nobody else knows. He said, man, you different than the rest of these comedians around. I said, okay. He came and met me at the Royal Blue. Mm-hmm. And he was working at the Howard Johnson Hotel as the club DJ. All right. So he's at the
that's when it was
called Spotlight Comedy Theater. Huh?
That's when it was across in the Scope, right?
Yeah. Okay. Spotlight Comedy Theater, across from the Scope. There you go. And I became the host of that room because I auditioned. And there was a guy out of North Carolina, I can't think of his name, and then there was D. Militant, and they both got booed that night. And I was able to do a 40-minute show, and he hired me. Because I was the one that saved everybody from leaving the show. And I had some dynamic intros into the world of comedy. I mean, the first time was because I was in an argument, won a contest.
Right.
I've been doing comedy for about 2 years over at the Royal Blue. Then Shock says, hey, man, let me come in and holler at you and take you over to another place to lift you a little higher.
Okay.
So after I've been working on for a while, for maybe about Shock, I've been there at the Howard Johnson for about 2 years, and Shock had a new duty station came up. So now, Shock introduced me to Joe Pro.
Okay.
Now, Joe Pro is a ventriloquist and a DJ. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, yo, man, ventriloquism is it. And we was doing the stuff with the dummy and stuff, and Joe had his thing going. Then these dudes came along named Walt and Ray. Mm-hmm. Okay, came along with the strip clubs.
Okay, yeah.
And then they had Joe Pro. That's how Joe Pro was working with me, and he started going to the strip club, and then he was working for Walt Reeder, I think it was his last name. No, not Walt. Walt, though. Walt, I'm going to just say his last name, Walt. Okay. Right? And then he started doing the clubs with Walt and Ray, and then the next thing I know, Joe was doing his thing, but he was doing the nightclubs, the strip clubs at the same time we were doing the comedy clubs. So he was a dual DJ. He was doing the comedy spot. He was a ventriloquist. He had the Joe Pro and Joe Pro's hoes. He had it going on. You feel what I'm saying? Because I used to introduce him. First it was Joe Pro, the ventriloquist. Then it was Joseph Pridgen. I said, yo, it's time for Joe Pro and Joe Pro's hoes, because he always had 2-3 women with him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the beginning and origin of Joe Pro. Joe Pro, I remember when he went from Joseph Pridgen to Joe Pro. Mm-hmm. I remember the transition. Yes, sir.
That he had some very nice mixtapes. Yes,
he did.
And mixtape covers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Some of the greatest people out there used to work with Joe Pro. You know, shoot, Chris Caliente used to work with Joe Pro. People don't know. I ain't gonna put it out there. I just say she's worked with Joe Pro.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put it out there. She worked. There's nothing to really put out there for, but this was in her young years. Mm-hmm. She did a little thing with Joe Pro, and I found out because I was watching one of the volumes, and I saw her, and I just know certain markings of the person, so I was like, oh, and I pulled it to the side. She told me it was her, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. But yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, Joe did pretty good, especially being independent, you know, and during the rise of the whole mixtape and then the mixed video era, he was right there, right on time.
Joe is still doing his thing right now.
Yeah.
He's still doing his thing. Joe is still representing, to the poor.
I'm about to call him. I haven't talked to him in years.
Man, I got his number, man. Joe's still chilling, man. Joe's still good people, man. Listen, man, let me tell you something. Joe is my dude. I've been knowing Joe for so long. When I say Joe is my dude, I mean, there's not many people I deal with, but Joe is one of them people, man. He's my boy, man. I've been knowing Joe for so many years, man. The dude's so talented, it's ridiculous, He's talented, and it goes. A lot of people in Hampton Roads, talent goes unmerited, man. Because I come up before Joe Pro. I come up before Missy and Timber, before Pharrell, before the Locks, before any of these groups here. I came before all of these groups, man, and watched all these people grow. You know, I came up with people like Stan Barrett from ESPN, used to be my morning show partner.
Okay.
All right. Stan Barrett from ESPN LA. You know, I had a chance to work with Chase, Chief of Command of Base, and I worked with Cheryl Wilson, you know, during those times in my first stint in radio. And it was a blessing, man. You know, I'd never done radio before in my life, and I started off on the #1 show.
Yeah. All right, so let's make the transition into that. How did you go from hosting the comedy shows and the comedy clubs into radio?
That's a good question right there. Now, I believe in giving back to people. Okay, it's just my nature. I like helping people out, not a problem. So the comics didn't have a ride to the radio station.
Okay.
And they were traveling on tour. And a lot of these guys, man, you got to think, some of these guys weren't driving. Some of these guys were struggling. They was catching the bus. Some of these guys were getting a ride and using rental cars and stuff like that just to go on tour. So money was tight. All right. So what I decided to do is I decided to come in and be the transportation for the comics from the hotel to the radio station.
Okay. Which wasn't that far. Which wasn't that far. Right.
Okay. So I volunteered to take them. But see, I lived in Portsmouth. I didn't live on this island.
Okay. So then you had to go through the tunnel.
Then so I would come through the tunnel, but wasn't no bills then. I came through the tunnel.
No toll.
Come pick up the comics, take them to the radio station, take them back to the hotel after the interview, go on about my business. So this meant I had to change my job schedule. Now, I worked days in the operating room. So I switched my days to afternoons. Because I got hired by and I'll tell you how this happened. How I got hired by the station. So I would volunteer to take them to the station. So then one day they didn't show up. They weren't at the hotel and they wasn't at the radio station. I was like, oh, shoot, what am I going to do? Chase, Chief of Command of the Base, said, yo, Herb, why don't you talk? I said, I'm not used to talking. I said, but I'll go ahead and get interviewed. So I went ahead and got interviewed. The next thing I know, they asked a question. They said, what is your favorite cartoon? And I said, Tom and Jerry. And they said, we want you to act out your favorite cartoon and give us a call and act out your favorite tunes on the air. So the first thing I came up with was, is you is, or is you ain't my baby.
Classic.
Tom and Jerry.
Right.
All right. And I came on, I said, my favorite was, is you is, or is you ain't my baby. Dum dum did do. A shabba dee doo, my baby loves my baby too. Boom, 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 boom. And the lights start shining up. Lights just start lighting up on the screen, right? I mean, on the telephone line, right? So then a guy by the name of Steve Crumbly came to talk to me and was saying, that we had the lines tied, and it was like who we were interviewing that, somebody was calling up so much. And it was me. So they hired me right then. So that's my first time I ever worked in radio. They hired me, and I filled out listen, I was at the station 3 weeks before I filled out a piece of paperwork.
So how long was it before you, because obviously at this time you were doing comedy, you were at the radio, and you were still at Maryview. How long was it before you left Maryview?
Oh, wow. And see, the thing is, I never left Maryview.
Okay.
I never left Maryview. To this very day, if I wanted to go back to Maryview, I can, the way I left it. I went from, when I finally left Maryview, it was when I couldn't work there.
Okay.
I never got excited and left. I went from changing my shift to afternoon, because for 3 years almost, I think it was almost 3 years, I did mornings at the radio station, worked in the afternoon at the hospital, and did comedy at night.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I did that for 3 years because I was buying a house. So when I bought my house, I paid for everything in my career cash. Because I've been working. I was young. I was 23 years old, almost about to turn 24. All right. And then it was like I gradually started changing my shifts at Mary because I was getting so many personal appearances that I couldn't work Mary Medical Center like full time. So I went to part time.
Okay.
I went from part time to on call.
Gotcha.
I went from on call to PRN as needed.
Uh-huh.
And I am still to this day on PRN status with Mary Medical Center.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, okay. You're at 103 right now. I used to wake up to you every morning, bro. Even before we met.
Wow, thanks, bro.
Used to wake up to you every morning. I had it scheduled. I knew when y'all do certain bits, I had to have my butt out the door to catch that bus for school. You know what I mean? And it was great having somebody local that you could relate to coming up. Because a lot of times, like now in the days of syndication and everything, you don't really know these people on the radio. They don't have a personal connection to you or your hometown. And it's not the same as it used to be. I think that's one of the things that the young people are missing out. Because, 103, if all 103, y'all had to say y'all might go by Military Circle Mall. That night, Military Circle Mall was going to be swamped. It was going to be. Yes. They're going to be looking, where Herman at? Where Herman at?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like that, man. We had 1.5, between 1.2 and 1.5 million listeners per week, That's a heck of accumulation,
Mm-hmm. All right, so now you're at 103. How do you go from 103 to the house, being a host of the Virginia House of Comedy?
Oh, wow.
That's where we met.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Let me tell you, there was a group out of Evansville, Indiana, called Trying to Find a Way Out Production.
Mm-hmm.
TWFO. Trying to Find a Way Out Production. TWFO. And TWFO was a group that knew my cousin in Evansville, Indiana.
Okay.
All right. And they came through here. They had a new cut out. And a dude named Rob Jones had come from Chicago to this area. And he came to visit. And Rob Jones went to Janet Armstead at 103 Jamz and said, he wanted to start doing comedy in the area. So she was like, oh, you want to do comedy in this area? Well, let me get you with our comedy. Let me get you with Herman Herston. He know about this comedy in this goddamn area. So she turned around and talked to Rob about comedy in the area. And next thing you know, Rob talked to me. Rob hooked me up with this guy named Tony. We ended up flying to Detroit because Tony was from Detroit. Mm-hmm. They already had the Coco's House of Comedy in Detroit. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I went to go check out Coco's House of Comedy, the layout for everything in Detroit and everything. It was, and I'm talking about, man, them boys in Detroit had to set up nights back then because they was balling. I ain't gonna get in nobody's business, but they was balling back then. They was balling. You know? When you went to go visit them in Detroit, they knew how to do it. You feel me? I'm talking about they took you there and gave you a house. Mm-hmm. They had houses they were renting out, right? So when you went to Detroit, they had a crib you could stay in, cuz. It wasn't regular. They had a crib. It wasn't a hotel, a crib, bro. So I was like, and I noticed these brothers own the whole block.
Okay.
So when we came back, we discussed the name of the Virginia House of Comedy. Mm-hmm. The original name of the Virginia House of Comedy was supposed to be called Herm's House of Comedy.
Okay.
That was supposed to be the name of it, Herm's House of Comedy. But I have a problem. See, I came from the operating room. I'm not no street Negro coming out the street trying to do comedy. I come from the operating room. So I know how to speak money. I'm not gonna let you I'm not the dummy. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I know complete idiot. Okay. So you're not gonna put my name on a building, and I'm not gonna be a part of the financial growth. Mm-hmm. It's not happening. So they were bothered by me not wanting to put my name on the building, and I didn't give a damn because I wanted a percentage of the proceeds. Right. I didn't want a payday. I wanted the percentage, and they wasn't feeling that. So we went on with Virginia House of Comedy, and that's how it went on. I wasn't putting my name on something because, you ever heard of Famous Amos?
Yes, the cookie man. Mm-hmm.
Now, Famous Amos is a cookie man. Now, while I'm talking, I'm going to show you this because Famous Amos is a cookie man, right? But now this cookie man, at at one time or another, this Cookie Man, let me see. I can't even switch this around. Yes, I can. Okay. This Cookie Man was known as, where is it? Where's my fingers? Okay, here he is. Where's my fingers? Look, I got it. Okay. That's him. Okay.
That's John Witherspoon.
Okay, there we go.
I think your finger's in the way.
There we go. Uncle No Name. There it is.
Okay.
Uncle No Name. Uncle No Name. Wally Amos. Uncle No Name. That's when his cookies. That's when they took his name from him.
Okay.
Okay, and he was no longer Famous Amos because the company that stole it from him took his name. Yeah, that's John Witherspoon, man. That's me and John Witherspoon. That's Don D.C. Curry, of course. This is Mary. You know what I'm saying? This is me, old picture from me at 103 Jamz here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? This is Ashy Larry. This is the Virginia House Comedy. That's Ashy Larry, Tony Woods, and the picture in the back is Jamie Foxx. Of course, this is me and Chase right here.
Nice.
It's just pictures, man. It's just pictures. I got stuff, man. That's me and Chase. Of course, that's Judge Hatchet. Okay. You know what I'm saying? This is one of my early shows. This is me doing cameo right here.
Hey, I recognize. Hold up, I recognize that fly right there. So talented young man made that fly.
Yeah, you made that fly?
Yeah, man.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
that was crazy, man.
That was one of my first big flyers. That's how I got associated with the Virginia House of Comedy.
Wow, man. See, man, I was doing stuff, man. I done did every Coliseum here. I've rented out every Coliseum here and done a show at every Coliseum here.
That was my first major. That was the second show after the James Brown show. And they couldn't get anybody to do any graphics, and somebody pulled my name out of the hat. And I was just so happy to do it. I basically did it for nothing and some tickets.
Yeah, so you did that. You did that for Don James.
Mm-hmm.
You remember Don James?
Yeah.
Now that was my manager at one time. They was one of the first cats that showed me about receiving money from the VA for being a vet. I'm in here. I'm adjusting my legs on my tripod.
That's all right.
Yeah. See, there we go. Yeah, make it more personal. There you go.
All right.
Yeah. So
y'all started the Virginia House of Comedy.
Yeah, man. So we started the Virginia House of Comedy, and Virginia House Comedy rolled for like 5 years or so, and it was banging. Then that's what was hitting. And I learned at the Virginia House Comedy, I met, of course, Don D.C. Curry, John Witherspoon, Mike Epps, Monique, Adele Gibbons, some more, Cheryl Underwood, Pierre. I can go on and on and on, man, because that's where everybody was at, man. I met people like Johnny, listen to the vibe. And they were all there, you know what I'm saying? Back then, that was the times when Mongoose and Timberland and Missy, right? When they came out, Timberland and Missy did our first birthday party. The Timberland, the Supreme Team birthday bash. Timberland and Missy were our special guests at our birthday bash, cuz. Yeah. I'm telling you, this is how big the Supreme Team were. We were bigger than anything happened here, and we still are. And it's the real thing, because nothing ever happened as big as what the Supreme Team ever was for Hampton Roads. And I mean, Chase, Cheryl, and Stan were the originators of stuff that really start taking that stuff to the next level. And to me, I was just like a Michael Jordan being put on a good team already. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? It's like me. I was like Kevin Durant going to Golden State. That's what it was like for me. No matter what I was going to do, I was going to win the championship because they were already solid. They were already poised to me. You know what I'm saying? I just came in to lift them a little higher than what they were already elevated to be. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Did you find that you got more national exposure once the Virginia House of Comedy opened up and you were able to network with other comedians?
Yeah. Once the Virginia House Comedy opened up, I was able to network, a little bit better with comedians. But to be truthful, Virginia House Comedy was it. But you got to think, I was doing radio. And you got to think, radio at that time was bigger than Virginia House Comedy.
You're right, because you're reaching people.
103 Jam. Okay, I put it like this: being in radio, being in comedy at the Virginia House, another Virginia House coming at the Spotlight Commentator, compared to the doggone radio was like this. It was like a great big church with millions of, with a few million, with a few 100,000, a few thousand followers. And you got this big church, massive church. And no matter how big that church is, it's not gonna be bigger than when you put it on radio.
Okay.
You put that radio on church and you got 1,000 followers. Now you turn that 1,000 followers to 100,000. You know what I'm saying? That's what radio do. So radio was bigger than com at the time. But what made it so crazy for me especially, in particular, when I came to radio and I got the job in radio, all right, I got a job in radio. The next week at the Spotlight Comedy Theater, we was having the Def Jamz audition.
Okay.
The following week, now. Ed Greenberg, and I give it to him, man. I'm gonna tell you something. This white dude, man. Everybody talk about Jewish dudes, man. A Jewish guy is a Jewish guy, man. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be who they're gonna be. All right. But Ed Greenberg was a Jewish guy that was just down to earth, man. You know, a lot of brothers don't understand. A lot of Jewish individuals love him. You just have to make them respect the boundaries of life. Like, you're a Jewish dude, I know you love me. You're not screwing me, nigga. I don't give a damn how much you love me. There's no sex. I'm not a gay, okay? Jewish dude, he might love you. Dude, I'm not doing no crime. I don't care what you're talking about. I'm not a criminal. Jewish dude love you. He may want you to take and compromise who you are as a person to take this role. I'm not gonna do that. But this wasn't a Jewish dude like this. He was old school, out to see what the best for me. You know what I'm saying? And they flew in the people from Def Jamz to come see me. I never auditioned for Def Jamz. I never have auditioned for Def Jamz not one time. They flew them in, they saw me, I hosted my regular show, I was going to Def Jamz, period. I never auditioned. I never left Virginia to do Def Jamz. Everybody else was traveling. Matter of fact, Ricky Smiley, that's why another thing too, that's why I don't even know why me and Ricky Smiley don't talk that much. Ricky Smiley had to come here in order, this was his last ditch effort to even make Def Jam. If he hadn't called, if Ricky Smiley didn't call me and say, Herm, y'all, and I called and he said, man, y'all got Def Jam edition. I said, yeah. He said, man, you mind if I come up there? Yeah, I said, yeah. Because you my dude.
Right.
Okay, Ricky Smiley was my dude. His aunt used to stay in Hampton. You know, and see, Ricky and we didn't fall out or nothing. I think I was just a little bit too real. You know what I'm saying? I'm a straight Negro.
Yeah.
I mean, nigga to heart. I don't take shit off of people. I'm not kissing your ass. I'm not gonna try to smile away to make it seem like it's okay. If it's what it is, then it's what it is, B. I cannot compromise who I am as a human being because I want to do something. You feel what I'm saying? Because when I do it, I might enjoy it for a second, but I'm gonna regret it in the end.
Okay.
And whatever's on my mind, say for instance, I don't like you, right? I can't sit around and say, you know, we just keep talking and act like I don't like you. I gotta tell you, nigga, this is what I don't like about your punk act.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you just like that, because I want you to come back to me and tell me how you feel real. I don't want to talk to you in no skeleton conversation.
Right.
Where in the end, it didn't have no meat to it, didn't have no substance, and you still feel the same way about me that you did before. It ain't changed shit.
Right.
That's not right with people, man. They got to stop that, man. People have to stop that phoniness in life. Tell people what's up. So you know what you're dealing with. Then people be able to work together. They'll be able to know if you don't get along with me, at least I know. Keep it real. Don't just give me that phony smile and deal with me because it's something you might need from me. Because then in the end, it's going to bite you in the ass and me. It's going to mess up something that we got going on. So talk about it so you don't have to split and you can still work and make things happen. That's what's wrong with a lot of black folks. When they split up, it'd be the end.
Yeah.
And you might have two like Steve Harvey and Gaga Bernie Mac. That was the end of the Kings of Comedy. You feel what I'm saying? When the girls and the queens of comedy talked about Cheryl Underwood being a part of the Queens of Comedy, they turned around and talked about her behind her back, and they were supposed to be doing a conference call, or she's on the conference call, but they don't realize she on that moment, listen to them talk about her like a dog. This is the type of stuff that we do, B. This is the type of short-saying stuff that we do when black people fall apart, because we don't put that true trust in one another, love in one another.
Cheryl Underwood is cool. I mean, I met her through you.
Yeah.
People. And so I have a different relationship with you. Like I used to come through, I did the flyers for the comedy club, and I used to help them with their little computers in the back when something went wrong. But
Yeah.
during the show, we could always just kick it, and you'll be on stage. It was so fun. You'll be on stage. You'll get off a stage. You come find me. We'll just go kick it in the back. Like we weren't even at the comedy club.
Yeah.
Everyday
So you
people,
know me.
man.
You know about the back room. You know about running upstairs right quick.
Yeah.
That's just me, man. If you was around me, I tell the truth. I smoke. Okay, people know I smoke. I've been a smoker ever since people can remember. And if a person knew me and it was a smoker, you knew you were safe.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, bro. That was me. And if I got it, it ain't about who or what. If you my peoples, man, bring your ass on. You know what I'm saying? That's just me, dude. And that's what my problem is. I'm so open and so real, is that a lot of people don't know how to deal with me because they're not used to being around a person that open and that real with them.
Right,
They're used to people having some type of angle.
Or you got to put.
I ain't never had no angle, man.
You got to put on certain air.
Yeah, I ain't never had no angle. If I got weed, Negro, you got weed. If I'm drinking liquor, you got liquor. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you act funny with yours, then I'm going to still smoke with you. I'm going to tell you why, because I'm going to still show you how to be a better person.
Right.
I'm going to let that guilt eat your ass up every time I give you something you don't want to do that for me. It don't hurt me. I'm going to be all right. You going to be all right. You going to learn eventually. You going to learn today.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
that's how it is, man.
So, okay, so our time is running down. I want you to talk to the people and let them know what projects you're working on now and what they can look for as the future of Herman Hurston.
Oh, man. Future right now, we're working on the network to bring all of the content that I'm filming and currently working on. Like right now, behind me, you see a green screen. Mm-hmm. I'm in work mode 24/7. My cameraman will be here later on. I don't want to call him no cameraman. I'll be messing with. His name is Howard L. Howard L. is a bad mother. Shut your mouth on that camera.
Nice.
So we got filleting fish with Herm, where I fillet several different species of fish and bring them on, and you get the chance to see how you can fillet your fish at your home. All right. And then with that, we're going to have the different merchandise that we have from filleting fish, because it's a different market for Black people. So then we have knives, cutting boards, things of the sort, anything involving fish, cleaning fish, and outdoors. Then we'll have cooking comedy with Herm. I'll be cooking up some great dishes, making a great cookbook, and producing a good cookbook for people to have some at-home quick dishes for the single man and single lady and those who are with and without. Hey, on the run. That's what I'm talking about, man. Also with the filleting fish, I'm going to have a line of shirts coming out called Beluga Roll. It's going to be called Beluga Roll, which is called caviar, which is the eggs. Beluga Roll is the eggs of a sturgeon, which stands for excellence. So we're going to turn it around with a little hip-hop and all that stuff. We're going to cross it from fishing and hip-hop. You know how to do it. Okay. Then we got Howard L. has produced a show called Dudes, Love, Lies. We're going to place that on. And we got What's Your Sign? We're doing that today because we've already got 8 episodes done with that. So you got to think, we got 15 episodes done with each one of these shows. So I already got 60 episodes done because that's 4 separate shows. Right. So right now we're working on episodes number 61 through 75 for what we're doing next. Hey, man, we doing it, man. I can't complain about nothing. I got a show with Angus Black coming up on the 25th of March of this year, 2021. Come on out. It's Angus Black will be hosting the show graciously. It will be Cool Bubba Ice, Drew Frazier, Laughing Lenny, and myself coming back with that old school. Cats bringing it down in Funny Bone. And, hey, Angus is putting it together. I am just the old school. I'm what you call the old school brother of the old school king of Hampton Roads. That's just called me. Right. Now, Angus is the ambassador. Well, I'm the ambassador. Angus is taking over as king. Okay. I'm the ambassador. Angus is taking over as king of what they do as far as Hampton Roads comedy, because I'm not in the mix like he is. Mm-hmm. Angus is in the active mix of what is going on in today's world, meeting new comics, elevating new comics. I'm not right there in my life right now. So I'm supporting him, Angus Black, 110% in what he's doing. Okay?
What was the date of that show again? At the
25th of March.
At the
25 March, yep.
At the Funny Bone.
At the Funny Bone. Virginia Beach, Funny Bone, Cool Bubba Ice, Drew Frazier, Laughing Lenny, Angus Black hosting the show, and myself. It's gonna be good. It's been a minute, man.
One of those.
You invited? You going out?
Oh, I'm coming out. You ain't got to say it twice, bro.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We be VIP in it. You know how we do. It's like
I've never needed VIP. I just walk in and be like, I'm with Herm.
Yeah.
Yo.
That's how you do it, man.
Yeah, I ain't need no placard, no nothing. I'm with Herm.
Yeah, that's all you do, man. See, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm a household name, man. And I'm thankful, that I'm thankful to the Most High to be placed in a position to continue to be around. First of all, it's a great thing to have lived this long so far. Mm-hmm. That's number one. And to have lived this long in good health is a thankful thing. And to live this long in good health and sound mind and body. See what I'm saying? People have to understand these things are the first things that I'm thankful for. You know what I'm saying? Then after that, I'm just thankful for all of the experiences that he's given me. My greatest prayer that I've ever had, and I continue this prayer to this day. God, I will do anything there is you want me to do without measure. But could you please, small request, put people around me who love themselves enough to share their love with me.
Exactly.
See, because if you love yourself enough to share your love with someone, there's no other prayer that's needed because they're going to do anything they can for you. Anything under the sun is answered when people surround you that love you.
Awesome.
That's number one.
Well,
that's where I'm at, man.
We're gonna leave it out on that before the choir starts singing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I want no trouble.
That's what I need to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been my conversation with my friend Herman Hurston. We hope y'all have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Anytime, bro. You're going to be back.
All right. I can't wait, man. I'm going to be right here on the brick wall. Yes, sir.
Later on, y'all.